Hello and welcome to this next edition of the DePaul School Parent Education video series. Steve Harris, who is our Chief Financial Officer, joins us. I'm Tony Kemper, our Head of School. And today we're going to take a different approach. This is going to be more instructive than it is descriptive. We're going to be talking to families, parents especially, who are considering applying for tuition assistance for school year 15-16. And among his many responsibilities, Steve is our chief steward of the tuition assistance program. Steve, first of all, how does DePaul fund its tuition assistance awards?
Well, our school approaches tuition assistance from a unique perspective compared to other schools. Rather than budgeting for a discounted tuition like they do, we raise cash in 1 year through various sources and distribute that as tuition assistance the next year. Mm-hmm. Those sources include our party event, the golf outing. We also have a modest endowment, and we take an annual draw from that supplements our tuition assistance. And we get donations from families, friends of the school, corporations, and other benefactors that actually contribute to that as well.
So if my family were to receive an award of $1,000, that doesn't represent a budgeted discount. That's actually cash that the school has collected that previous.
That is cash that we raised from some source the previous year.
So that's significant. In terms of this current school year 14-15, can you please share some statistics or data to give people an idea of how many people are beneficiaries and how many people apply for our tuition aid?
We had 116 families apply for tuition assistance this past year, or this current year. There was about 84 of those received actual awards. The total amount of the awards that we were able to distribute this year was $290,735.
That's significant.
It is.
So many families are beneficiaries of the awards. We use the services of the FACTS Tuition Management and Grants Agency. So families actually apply through that FACTS, very reputable FACTS organization. Can you walk people through that process and give them some directions and help with that application through FACTS?
Well, it's actually quite easy. All they need to do is go to our website, and then under the admissions tab, there's a tab there that takes you to tuition assistance. And once you get to that landing page there is a great getting started video. Just click on that, watch that video, follow that through, and then also below the video on that same page there's a hot link that will take you right to the application process.
We have already begun communicating through the Husky Weekly and through some other media important enrollment and application timeline information, right? This really is a time-sensitive process to help the school, help families. Can you highlight some of the keys in that tuition assistance timeline?
Well, the deadline for the application process is March 21st. And that includes having your 2014 tax returns completed and submitted right along with that application. So our deadline is earlier than the IRS.
Yes, and just for information's purposes, today we're filming this. It's January the 13th, and you and I both know as members of the Tuition Aid Committee, that March deadline hits quickly.
It does, yeah.
It's here before we know it.
It's a good thing to get started right now.
Yes.
On those tax returns.
And Steve, in terms of that application online, I know that you and the staff here offer some helps for families that are maybe going through or encountering some difficulties.
They can always call Chris up at our front desk, Chris Lockhart, and she can help them through the process quite easily. They can always come in and we can provide a computer and work with them if necessary, if they're having difficulty with that. So.
Yes, and we will promise you we will maintain the confidentiality and the privacy, but we've had many parents over the years that have come in and we've allowed them to use a computer. Maybe your family doesn't have a working computer right now. We'll provide that. We will give you the privacy, but we'll be available question by question to help as needed. So the application process, the deadline for that is March 21st. Then the tuition assistance committee
Mhm.
gets involved. So
That's correct.
just entering the data into facts, it's not facts that makes the determinations of
That's
award
correct.
award amount, right? So can you talk about how then the work proceeds? They're very quiet, important, careful work that follows the deadline.
Well, we'll evaluate the assessment that FACTS makes for each application,
Mm-hmm.
looking for obvious errors and things in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Then we put together a report of the assessment and the needs that FACTS determines for each applicant.
Mm-hmm.
The committee then gets that data without names.
Mhm.
They don't see it, again, for the privacy aspect of it, we don't look at the names of
Mhm.
those in committee.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll then look at the process, how we're making those awards, and we'll just go from there.
Mhm.
We then look at that. I think it's important that when folks fill out their applications, that they do a good, complete job. Let us know anything that's not, there's place on the application for those kinds of things
Mhm.
that are unique to their financial situation and the like.
That maybe are in addition to what their tax information revealed.
That's correct. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that the tax return can't tell us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're anticipating being laid off in another month or so, that's very important to the
Mhm.
application process. It's also important that we know all sources of income and things like that, because the committee will also look at when someone is eligible for tuition assistance, do they then, after receiving an award from us, which is a maximum of half of tuition, they'll look at that and determine whether the income that they're showing or the other support that they're showing is sufficient enough to meet their needs.
Mhm.
So there may be some issues there too, so it can go either way.
In the course of organizing the data in such a very fiduciarily responsible way as you do, there may be times when Steve has questions that need to be asked of families in order to clarify, was this the number you intended to enter? Or this seems to be a dissonant value that you entered in the application. So I would charge families to, if Steve calls or if Emma Stein, our business officer, were to call, or Chris Lockhart would call from the school, and it's regarding the tuition assistance application, we can't emphasize enough how important it is to return that call because this is a tight process.
It is.
After FACTS evaluates, and then after our tuition assistance committee comes in and evaluates, and then calculates awards based upon what we anticipate we're going to have in hand that fiscal year, we then communicate to families. It's by email, is that correct, Steve?
That's correct.
Communicate whether they've received an award or not. And then again, families have to reply promptly, right?
That's correct.
But what if a family disagrees or believes that a circumstance has suddenly revealed itself
Mhm.
that might impact that initial award? Walk us through that.
Well, on April 15th, those emails will go out. They'll be generated by fax on our behalf, and families will receive notice. They'll need to log on then to their fax account to see what the award is or
Mhm.
whether there was an award.
Mhm.
Should there be no award or the award is an insufficient amount, there's a form there that they can fill out, or just by email, responding back to us by email, and they can appeal the award amount.
Mhm.
Again, keeping in mind that the maximum award is generally 50% of tuition that we could go. Because a lot of times between the time they apply and the time they receive the award notice, things have changed in their family. The situations can change that quickly.
Mhm.
So if there's new information and things that might help us reassess, that's the time to start providing that information to us. And again, a return email to me
Mhm.
will be sufficient for that.
Mhm. And again, the amount that we could award in that appellate round is contingent upon how much actually we have in hand.
In the pool.
We'd certainly like to be able to help more, but
Oh, yes.
there is a finite amount that
Yeah,
we
we'd
anticipate.
love to meet the needs of everyone that has that need.
Mhm.
They'll need to, provide that information and get it back to us no later than April 21st then, to be considered for an appeal on that.
The timeline is critical, and please understand that we cannot make exceptions to the timeline because, as Steve mentioned, we anticipate again over 100 applicants, and to keep things moving and moving equitably, we really need everyone to honor the timeline, and we just simply can't make exceptions. The key, as one who can procrastinate, I would just say to any fellow procrastinators, please don't wait. If you have a question and it's Friday, don't wait till Monday. Send your email or make your call on Friday so that we can keep the process moving on your behalf for the consideration of your appeal. The communication really is such a key,
It's important.
and we want it to be timely. Feel free in being transparent and fully disclosing. We have been involved in this process for some time, and we hold each other, and the board holds all of us accountable for being duly diligent in terms of privacy and confidentiality. Also, as with all policies and procedures of the school, the awarding of tuition assistance is non-discriminatory. We are looking purely at eligibility of families in terms of economic need, and then doing our best without bias, without preference, to help families enroll their child at the DePaul school or enroll their children at the DePaul school. Steve, any concluding remarks? Any keys that we haven't shared with our
Just
families?
again, remember that first date, February 21st, is so important that you get your application and your taxes done and submitted by March 21st.
March 21st, so
March 21st.
just over 2 months away from this actual date of filming. We appreciate very much you watching the video. If it's regarding tuition assistance or any issue regarding the finances of our school, Steve's always available. We welcome your phone calls, your emails, and your correspondence. And thanks very much, and best of wishes to all of us as we continue the school year 14-15, which is our school's 45th year, and as we already begin making plans for the 46th year of the DePaul school next year.